Okay, let me shrink this. Oh. Hello, guys. Now, as you know, I don't normally have a chat about movies and everything. I normally like to leave that for people who are better at it than me. But this time I have something to input that I don't know if anybody else is going to have noticed, or even if what I saw is real. So, I went and saw Puss in Boots: The Last Wish last night, tonight, whatever, a few hours ago. And first off, some thoughts about the movie itself. One, if I give any spoilers this time, it's on you if you keep watching from here out. But I don't normally like to do spoilers; it's just not my thing. Two, um, it's a good movie. It's a beautiful movie. The animation's amazing. I kept wanting to pause the movie so that I could study the textures on like the bears and everything for my own stuff because I love that they have. I'm given to understand, starting with Spider Verse, taken a comic book painted feeling and finally merged it with 3D. 3D was getting a little too realistic. It had already went into the uncanny valley I don't know how many times. And this blend I really, really enjoy because these are supposed to be cartoons, exaggerations, and somewhere along the way, our animation had lost that feeling that really makes the old animation so enjoyable. And with this new blend, they have brought back this dynamic, really, really well animated thing, and it really fits the genre very well. I think it's something that I had tried to work on in my little hobbiness frequently, and I'm a little jealous that they achieved it and I didn't. But hey, it is what it is. It's not like they don't have millions of dollars of equipment, and I've got like a computer with like a 970 GeForce, whatever. Um, but I have to admit, the movie slightly let me down a little as far as the movie itself. It was good, but it was not Shrek good. Now, of the Shrek movies, my favorite one happens to be Shrek 3. No, no, no. Take that back. Shrek 2. Shrek 3 sucked. Shrek 2, I really loved it much more than Shrek 1, but I loved Shrek 1. And I liked Shrek 4. Um, but this was good all on its own. I mean, it's not supposed to be another Shrek. It was really good. One of the villains here, Goldilocks, I when I realized what she was up to, I was like, she's going to do this thing. She tried to do this thing, and then things worked out so beautifully for her. And I really loved the story behind her backstory. I liked how they took the Goldilocks folklore and really made it something heartfelt and amazing. That was great. There's a lot of praise for this movie that I would normally have. But I'm actually here to speak to you about what the heck? Where did that this guy, I don't know why. This guy right here. This amazing, look at that wonderful painted look. I could just die. I want to be able to do that. Big bad wolf. Death himself. Now, I'm going to go through him in the movie before I tell you what I'm here to talk about. That's going to be really short because once I'm done talking, it's over. It's going to be like 5 minutes, right? When he appears, he whistles. And when he chases Puss in Boots, he whistles. Now, I couldn't figure out what he was whistling. I thought it might be The Farmer in the Dell after reading the credits, and The Farmer in the Dell is in the credits as part of the soundtrack, and I don't remember it being played anywhere else, but I'd have to watch the movie again. If it is The Farmer in the Dell, the lyrics are, the farmer takes a wife, the wife takes a dog, and the very last line that, I think it was the mouse that takes the cheese. And if you don't know the book I Am the Cheese, the very last line it is that I am the cheese. Just so you know, just so you know, I can actually quote the last line of a book, I am the cheese, right before the guy dies. Uh, okay, takes, and what's the wolf out for? Taking a life. So if I'm right about that, there is that. But what's more important, I think, is the fact that the Puss in Boots movie is supposed to be a fantasy western, and you've got this character coming in as a death character, hunting down Puss, whistling. Now, in Western lore, there is an obscure person, and I do mean person, historical person, called the Whistling Death. And I don't mean fighter jets that belong to the U.S. government. I don't mean the Aztec death whistle. I mean, they called him the Whistling Death. And let me tell you how I know about the Whistling Death, because that's why this is so important. Why I feel like this is important to express, because I feel like it honest to God feels like they took Whistling Death and they made him the big bad wolf, who, by the way, is an amazingly designed character. I mean, here's his first appearance. I mean, just, oh my gosh. There is an old movie about him that was airing on TV, so this guy is not like so obscure that nobody's ever noticed so much as there was this fad for a while, and you'd see him on TV where there would be like these movies documenting or making up stuff about the Old West days and everything. There was like Walks for a Woman, Dances with Wolves, comes after a long line of those, you know. And then there was the one about the Whistling Death. And I don't remember much that the movie portrayed. I remember that he was like a trapper or some sort of American citizen fellow traveling. And he came across a homestead. And there was the mother in the yard in the movie. And she's trying to put her shoes on her dead child. The house had been raided by Braves, and she was the sole survivor, and she obviously had seen everybody killed in front of her. And this broke her, as would a lot of people. And back then, you would care for the touched by God. And so he began to do things, bring her food and everything. And then the Braves came back and killed her. And I don't remember, I think he used to have a wife, and they had also been killed. Because remember, this is during the Indian Wars. We're going to set all racism aside. We're just talking historical facts. I don't care about your vendettas or whatever. This is just historical facts. There's a reason for this. And so he had already lost a lot, but I don't remember if it was by Braves, because this is a memory I'm trying to pull up out of the dredges of like a lifetime. But when we were watching the movie, my father got excited. And if you don't know who I am or know me, understand I'm Native American. I am Brotherton of the Fires of Mohegan, to be precise. And my father got very excited, and he said to me, this was not said in the movie, I remember this. So he said to me, "Oh, that guy." He got very excited. He's like, "They called him the Whistling Death." He basically spent, I don't know how long, probably the rest of his life, hunting, well, fellow Indians. And he would strike terror, because he would use psychological warfare in that when he was coming for you, he'd whistle a song. And so his name was Whistling Death. And I remember my dad's eyes lighting up, and how his eyes lit up as he remembered this tale that had been passed to us, and he remembered this. And so in that moment, before the movie had really gotten very far in, he passed the tale on to me. And I'm an idiot, I forgot, but now I remember, thanks to this movie. So when the wolf appears, he's whistling, and it turns out that he is at least coming for Puss. If not, there's death involved here. And on the drive home, I realized, oh, that wolf was Whistling Death. They took Whistling Death and they made a wolf out of him, and they put him in the thing. And what's really cool about this is that Whistling Death, although based on actual events, like a lot of fairy tales, by the way, is one that we remember, and it's a macabre story. It's sad. Whistling Death is sad on both sides. It's terrifying that this kind of situation actually happened, but it's still our equivalent of urban myth is something that we have passed down. And now I'm seeing this character in the Puss in Boots new movie that may or may not be inspired by that, or maybe he was that. And I personally really like it. Now, there's going to be a lot of people out there, if and when they realize this, they're going to be like all offended. Um, Maybe it's my darkling side, but I'm like, personification of death. Way to go. I like this wolf. And if there's an action figure of this wolf coming out, I'm going to want it. I'm going to want, yeah, I really like this character. So, Whistling Death. I wanted to share that with you. That my father had told me about this myth, I guess you could say. He may not have been real, but this myth when I was like maybe 14, 15, and now I'm seeing this Puss in Boots in the fairy tale land that is Shrek's world. Maybe inspired by it, maybe not, but it was just cool how it hit me, and then I remembered things. And so now I'm passing it on to you. And it was just a thought I wanted to share with you, Whistling Death. I did do a quick internet search to see if he was like accessible for information online, and couldn't find anything about the person or the movie, or even if Whistling Death actually happened, or if it was just something that's passed down or what. But there it is. And I thought you guys might enjoy this little tidbit that I confess I don't feel like would normally come up in the analysis that the people who are better at this than I will do. We're going to hear a lot of director cuts and angles and shots and I don't know, the moment that changed Puss in Boots, Wish Upon a Star or whatever. And this thing is so obscure that if it's in there, I just don't feel like it would normally get noticed. So I've put this out into the world. Now I'm going to shut up and I'm going to upload this. And I'm probably going to wash my face. And I'm going to go to bed. Oh. As soon as I hit stop, it's right here somewhere.